Good afternoon. I've got my Boulder shirt on. Boulder is a is it a 5K? 6K race, something like that. No, it's a 10K race. Sorry, 6 miles. And my wife, Terry, and I do it every year. It's kind of fun. It's a big party here in Boulder. And we like to get out and we like to run. Makes us healthy and happy. Let's see what we got. You'll notice my stack is almost gone. There's a whole new stack waiting. John from Overland, Kansas writes, how can I remove the hum from my turntable preamp? I've tried many things, some worse, some improvements, but there's always more hum than I can tolerate. Yikes. That's a can of worms. First off, John, we have a tutorial on our website. We have a section called How To and Find and Fix Hum, and it can be kind of involved. Turntables being the toughest because turntables have a rather impossible task that they have to take, especially a moving coil, they have to take a phono cartridge with sensitive magnets and amplify that signal, that tiny little signal, up to something big enough for a power amplifier to play on our speakers. And we're talking a gain of usually around 1,000, which is, in other words, 1,000 in gain means that you put 1 millivolt in and you get 1,000 millivolts out. You're trying to amplify that by 1,000 times just to get that level up to where you can put it into a preamp. So it's really hard to get quiet music out of a tone arm, and depending on your phono preamplifier, there can be any number of things that are amiss. One of the more common maladies that I see are people forgetting to hook up the ground wire or the ground wire not being connected. So in all turntables, or most that I'm familiar with, there's a separate ground wire. And if that ground wire is properly terminated, and I'll talk about that in a second, you want to make sure that the ground wire goes into the ground lug on your phono preamplifier or your main preamplifier, and they all should have it. And you tie that down and make sure that that is securely tied to ground. Now, that typically goes to either the turntable chassis or the tone arm connected to the head shell. Now, the best scenarios I've seen are where the head shell is grounded, the tone arm is grounded, and the chassis of the turntable is grounded all together through that little wire, the ground wire. In a number of cases, I've seen, many examples of the head shell being ungrounded, and that acts kind of like an antenna, or the tone arm ungrounded, and that can lead to hum going through. It's instructive to remember how this thing kind of works. Within a moving magnet or a moving coil cartridge, you have little coils of wire, very, very fine wire. And in a moving magnet, you have a needle with a hunk of iron on the end of it and the magnets surrounding it. And as this wiggles in the groove, the magnet gets closer and farther away from those coils, which generates a voltage. The opposite in a moving coil, you have magnets on the outside, and the coil of wire is attached to the needle. So the coil moves closer to the magnets. But whatever you're doing, it's a very sensitive circuit, and that whole cartridge and head shell affair really needs to be properly grounded, and you want to make sure that that has happened. You also want to determine the nature of the hum. Now, this is something that is a little tough. We should probably, as a service to our customers, have examples of it. And here's why I bring that up. There are primarily two types of hum that we're worried about, and I refer to them as hum and buzz. So hum, at least in this country, is kind of a soft 60 hertz. In Europe, it's lower, but still kind of soft, not raspy, and it's 50 hertz, which is what comes out of the wall socket for AC. The buzz I refer to will be twice that frequency, so 120 hertz in America, countries that have 60 hertz power, and 100 hertz. But the important point is to distinguish between the two. So one, the buzz, kind of like an angry insect, and hum, which is the 60 or 50 hertz. Now that's important because when you have a buzz, that many times is a ground loop. And here you can have two grounds. Let's say your turntable has its ground, as I discussed before, and your preamp or power amp has a separate ground grounded through the three-pronged plug that plugs into the wall. Well, if those two get off in terms of potential, so that the level of the ground is slightly different, you'll get that and that buzz. And now you can use a cheater plug to eliminate that, or you can get better AC wiring and means you can plug it all into a power plant or into a power conditioner. But you need to figure out if you have a ground loop, which is usually that buzz, or if you have a proximity problem, which is typically hum. By proximity, I mean the turntable is too close to something that is radiating a 50 hertz or a 60 hertz from a transformer. And that is usually the turntable or something is too close to another piece of gear with a power transformer that is radiating a large magnetic field of those lower frequencies. So those are just a couple of general tips. Grounding, making sure that you're not too close to any large or even medium-sized radiated field. And lastly, go to our website, psaudio.com, and go to the area where it's called resources at the top of the page, and go to how to. There are many articles that we publish on there that'll help you. And if at the end of the day you still can't figure it out, give us a call. We'll be happy to help you and walk you through. Thanks for the question. Bye-bye.